Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. We're back with some ghosts. We're going with some paranormal activity. This is a nice calming one again that I had to do. Let's do it. Here are the top 10 bizarre cases that baffled paranormal investigators. Kicking off the list at number 10, Poltergeist. The case that inspired the 1982 classic Poltergeist. Yeah, these things are real, apparently. Back in 1958, the Raynham House in New York would never be the same ever again after this one fateful day. James Herman from Long Island got a phone call one night from his wife, Lucille. She tells him that bottles of different substances had their lids popped off. In different rooms, there were different jars and different bottles, whatever the case was, just lids were just popping off in random rooms. She heard the popping and had to go check it out for herself. One of the items was a vial of holy water. Herman told the family to stay calm, there's probably a reasonable explanation for everything going on. The classic dad move. Less than a week goes by, it happens again, but this time, Herman witnessed it. Bottles in his bathroom began moving around by themselves by some force. The police came, no explanation. Then a priest came along as well, nothing changed. Lucille Herman claims that she still hasn't seen Poltergeist, and to be fair, I wouldn't watch that movie either. The Herman's house inspired the movie with weird happenings and such, but there weren't any skeletons jumping out of pools, There weren't any skeletons attacking the family. Lucille also said that she hadn't seen it because she had her own nightmare. The actress who played Diane, JoBeth Williams, in the movie Poltergeist, said in an interview that while they were filming, she would have to go into a huge tank of what she thought were plastic skeletons and like muddy water. She later found out that these bones were in fact real human bones. Because yeah, at the time, human bones were cheaper. Production saw nothing wrong with this idea. Nice, that's horrible. So she spent like 5 days filming with human bones. I'm gonna be sick. That's the worst thing I've ever read. Number 9, the Snedeker House. This is a classic Ed and Lorraine Warren ghost story. It was the main inspiration of the Haunting in Connecticut movie. Ed and Lorraine got a call from owners of the home saying that their son was experiencing personality changes. Now at first, maybe you'd laugh at that call if you were on the other end. Maybe he's just growing up, maybe he's moody, whatever, This was not the case at all. These changes were violent in nature, and on top of that, and another pretty obvious issue in the home, they were seeing apparitions just all around their house. Son's acting odd, and also, we have ghosts. There's one right there, look at it. So Ed and Lorraine were of course interested in what was going on. Old house in Southington, Connecticut, Alan and Carmen Snedeker then found these tools. Old tools used by morticians in their home. Yep, their home was once upon a time a funeral parlor. One day when Carmen was mopping the floor, it turned bloody red all of a sudden and it began to smell foul. So there was a lot of happenings going on. Ed and Lorraine came to one conclusion: demons. Number 8, the Villisca House. Skeptics have left believers. It's always nice to see that line on a website about a haunted house. You're like, cool, debit, I guess. Okay, where to start with this one? It goes back to June 10th, 1912. The Moore family was sadly killed, but it's a crime that has still never been solved. Not saying that ghosts did it, that's disrespectful. I'm not saying that this horrible crime was done by a ghost or anything spooky. This was somebody who got away with it, and it's horrible. But afterwards, the house, as you would assume, turned into some sort of an attraction. Guests would end up paying hundreds of dollars to stay at this place. Why do people do this? A paranormal investigator stayed there back in 2014 and then afterwards ended up taking his own life after just one night there. Whatever's going on here, just leave it alone. That's my opinion. Number 7, Mudhouse Mansion. Coming from Fairfield County, Ohio, the Mudfield Mansion was built a while back, so it's so old it's actually debated when exactly it was built. Best guess so far is that it was built around the mid-1800s. Good time for ghosts. I've heard those are great ghost years. The building was demolished, so if you're thinking about grabbing a flashlight and Ouija board, sit your butt down, mister. It's gone. It was last sold to the Hartman family back in 1920s, but come the 30s, it was completely abandoned. So the ghost stories naturally came in. More than fair, it looks haunted. Ghost stories would naturally come about just walking by that place. I included this one today on our list because this is where the Bloody Mary urban legend all kicked off. A family moved in, or at least tried to, when after they were seen unboxing everything, they all just suddenly vanished. Locals were curious who the new arrivals were and why they were so quiet right after they just moved in, but eventually police went to go check on them and they were just gone. They were just not there. This property is loaded with numerous urban legends just like that. The locals don't miss it at all. Like I said, it was demolished in 2015. RIP, see you later, ghost house. Bye, Bloody Mary. Number 6, 455A Sackett Street. Not to be confused with 221B Baker Street, 455A Sackett Street is a haunted apartment in Brooklyn. So no, it's not Sherlock's apartment. Imagine moving to the big city, okay, New York, a busy city that's known for being loud, for being active. And on top of that, not being able to sleep, now you have ghosts. One lady who grew up in the apartment experienced these hauntings herself. Fires would just start randomly, there'd be loud bangs in other rooms. All around just bad vibes, which given what I said seems more than fair. Sightings were common of apparitions, but it was always the same female looking spirit. It was always seen via a mirror. And that, my friends, is why I don't look into mirrors ever. Number 5. haunted hotel. I knew tons of people who enjoy staying at a hotel. Like, it's cozy. I'm not one of those people, okay? I don't like hotels. Every time I'm in one, I'm always way too cold. I always think it's haunted. I'm shivering the entire night. If it was the Hotel Monte Vista in Flagstaff, Florida, however, it would for sure be haunted. When it first opened in 1927, it was home to speakeasies, gambling, just shady stuff at the time. A lot of smoke in a lot of rooms, Peaky Blinders and all that kind of stuff. Many of these rooms were haunted, of course, or it wouldn't be on this list. Specifically, the room 220. The TV would change channels by itself. Guests have felt cold hands touch their body at night. See, already at this point, I'm out. See ya, I'd get untucked and I'd be out of the door. Sometimes guests would also hear knocking on the door in the middle of the night with a small faint voice on the other end announcing room service. I would throw up. I'd look through the door and go, oh, no one's there, and then immediately puke on all of my shoes. This is why I don't do hotels. Number 4, Castle Spirit. This one is the most recent, so buckle up. Tony Ferguson was filming a castle in England. He was admiring the old beauty of this castle, but when the 33-year-old looked back on his footage, he first thought that he missed out on a prank. He laughed at first, looking at this footage. He couldn't believe what he saw. Check it out. Is this ghost figure moving behind the window? Is this a person? What's going on here? This was at Hurst Castle in Hampshire. He also recalls that nobody could have moved around in that space at all. This wasn't the first time the spirit has visited that place. A time before, Tony said at first when he saw it, it was like this white mist, but then other accounts, it's like a white clay kind of fog looking. It changes forms, basically. It's definitely a ghost. I was asking to show itself and the white mist flew straight at my camera. I mean, this time around he got footage of something moving. Whatever it is, it's in a video, I get more creeped out. It's harder to fake when it's a video, basically, that's for sure. What are your thoughts? Is this convincing? It's kind of convincing. Number 3, Raynham Hall. This one is a classic. If you haven't seen this photo, really, honestly, good for you. You've made it this far, you're lucky. This is one of the only convincing ghost photos that I've seen. Raynham Hall, England. Okay, this tale kicked off back in 1936 after a photo went around through Country Life magazine. Pretty much a viral photo back in 1936, and it's haunting. It's a spirit wearing a brown gown, and it's casually just floating down a staircase. Legend has it the spirit is that of one Dorothy Townshend. She was the sister of Robert Walpole, the first Prime Minister of Britain back in 1676. Some reports say the image is a result of a long exposure gone wrong. Honestly, either way, I don't want to know. This is terrifying to look at. Number 2. The demonic boy. It doesn't matter where or when, but odds are you've definitely seen this photo at some point. Normally you want to find something that looks fake about a haunted photo, but with this one, it's kind of tough. This photo was taken inside the Amityville house in 1976. It's a young boy with glowing white eyes. It was taken with an automatic camera that was equipped with infrared, and it makes it even creepier how the boy looks like he's peeking around the corner. A photographer named Gene Campbell took it, and Gene was working with paranormal investigators, you guessed it, Ed and Lorraine Warren at this time. This photo was revealed 3 years after it was taken on the Merv Griffin show, and many believe this is the ghost of John DeFeo, one of the boys who lived there prior during that 1974 event. We're still trying to cover this. What do you guys think? Elaborate hoax, or perhaps this photo is one solid piece of evidence that the Amityville house is indeed haunted? And finally, number 1, The Shining hotel spirit. I saw The Shining once when I was younger, and nope, not for me, my friends. I couldn't understand that horror movies were just movies, right? So that one did a number on my young brain. The Stanley Hotel in Colorado is now quite famous for its use in the Stanley Kubrick 1980 classic, The Shining. With the lodge being over 100 years old, it has a pretty decent chance of actually being haunted in real life, let's be honest. They have spirit tours, which are usually just for tourists, whatever, but when Jay Mosling was on one of these tours, they snapped a few pics of random areas. The classic, you know, flash on, of course. After the trip, he was going through the photos and he found this gem. It appears to be a spirit, or demon, ghost, apparition, something that's horribly scary and floating, and it also has long black hair, it appears. The room was of course empty at the time this photo was taken, and honestly, I kind of believe that. Can't just snap photos of random people. That's, what's that called? Oh, a crime. You gotta go chill in the broom closet by yourself and just wind up a disposable camera. That's what ghost hunting's all about. I'm taking notes from Jay. He's doing this whole thing correctly. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters. Those were our top 10 bizarre cases that baffled paranormal investigators. And we'll see you next time on Most Amazing Top 10. Peace.